Hello, folks. Here's Matt. I'm here to kind of report on a really bad experience I had a couple of days ago. It was, jeez, I don't remember now. It was Thursday. Yeah, I do believe it was Thursday. Well, going back, the night before, Wednesday night, for some reason, like, after I took my nightly sleeping pills and stuff, I felt, like, stoned. You know, like, very similar to, like, how pot would be. Not that I know, what pot's like, but, I just felt, like, really weird. I was like, oh, okay, maybe you just took a little bit too much, no big deal. So I go to bed, I wake up in the morning, and I still feel that way. And this feeling is like, and this is Thursday, by the way. I felt surreal, like completely disoriented. I mean, I was sitting there actually doing my algebra final exam while this was all happening, and I was like, I can't stop this, because if I stop it, then I'm going to focus on the panic, and in the middle of the final exam, I'll be calling up the nurse and be like, what's going on with me? What's going on? Because what would happen is that I would have these surreal experiences, and then my body would feel really, really wrong. I mean, it just felt like I was under the influence of something really crazy. And it got worse because I started shaking, be all jittery, and then I started, having chest pains, and then I got headaches, and then I couldn't concentrate, I got flushed, it's like, and then all of a sudden, all this culminated into a panic attack for me, because people know me that I panic when there's unknown things going on in my body. I panic, and the panic attack made it 10 times worse. Okay, by the time I finished my little exam, I was like dedicated to getting it done because I wanted a distraction. Well, I had called like 3 or 4 nurses, and trying to get some idea of what's going on here. Called my psychiatrist, what's going on here, and basically they just said, well, it'll get better, blah blah blah, whatever. So the day goes on, and like I said, I get these tremors, these convulsions, heart racing, feeling flushed, and it's getting worse and worse and worse throughout the day. And it could possibly be that the panic about my physiological symptoms increased those physiological symptoms, because half of it was that whole situation. Anyways, I ended up calling 911 because I got in my car and I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get myself to the urgent care safely. Because not only was I, like completely disoriented, and like I said from before, I felt like, I was under the influence of something. I didn't take anything abnormal, just my regular dosage of everything, but there's one thing I forgot, and that is I pretty much went from about 6 milligrams Xanax every day, usually 3 during the day and then 3 at night, to counter the insomnia issues, as prescribed, pretty much. Maybe a little bit more, 1 or 2 milligrams more prescribed. I went from that, around 6 milligrams a day, to zero, because I ran out. And I was at zero for about 3 to 4 days, and actually it might have been 2 to 3 days, and apparently that's what caused the physical symptoms, and it put me in a panic attack. And by the time the ambulance got there, I was sweating and I mean, I was like, again, it's still in that surreal state. I was absolutely panicky, and I mean, I was trembling. I mean, it was really, really bad. And it turned out, I mean, physiologically, in the ambulance, they said that, basically you have an elevated heart rate. It was like 100 beats per minute, and that was because I had a panic attack. And the withdrawal from the Xanax is most likely what caused it. That's what the doctor said. And I spent about 3 or 4 hours at the ER, and it was surreal. I mean, the unknown physiological symptoms really made me panic. I mean, it sent me into a spiraling panic. It just went exponentially higher and higher and higher until the point I felt like I was about ready to have a heart attack. Like I seriously had chest pain and stuff. Anyways, the ambulance took me to the ER. Pretty much just sat there, and they did blood tests on me. They said basically you have a high white blood cell count, but that's just because of what you've been through. And the reason why your initial physiological symptoms were because of your withdrawal from Xanax, going from like 6 or 7 milligrams a day to 0 because I ran out, is bad. I didn't think it was like that because it's a short-term medication. It's not like SSRIs or tricyclics, antidepressants, or anything like that. It's short-term. It's just like, pop one, but okay, you're feeling fine. Okay. I ran out though, and what happened is, it was terrifying, to be honest with you. It was probably one of the worst experiences of my life. Worst experiences of my life. Rushed to the ER. I didn't know what to do, and I called my sister and my friend, and my mom and everybody else. Just like, and I'm still kind of anxious, and I'm actually at this point at the ER. I was feeling ashamed of myself and the fact that this has happened yet again. Some kind of drug interaction, some kind of issue, and I spent about 4 hours at the emergency room, and I think I did the safe thing in calling the 911, though I'm going to end up paying for it later, probably, unfortunately, out of pocket. But I didn't want to drive myself, and my roommate wasn't home, but my roommate was able to pick me up from the from the hospital at about 7 o'clock or so, and I was feeling better about then. I mean, if you had been in my body and been in my head during the midday, you probably might have panicked a little bit too. Probably not as much as I would, because I panic. I mean, I absolutely get into full states of sustained panic. And the panic was so bad that this was 2 days ago, and I'm still feeling the effects. I'm feeling the physical effects. I feel like I ran like a 10-mile marathon. Okay, because my heart rate was like a sustained 100 beats per minute or whatever for like a good, I'd estimate around 3 or 4 hours. 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, and it was a sustained state of panic due to the physiological symptoms. And I found it odd that it's just me that experiences this, but apparently other people do experience this a little bit too, where if they feel something weird in their body and it doesn't go away, they feel like this is something really bad is going to happen, and the panic becomes worse than the actual physiological symptoms. And that's basically what happened to me, and that's why I ended up in the ER on Thursday. And since then, I've been anxious, and I've been unsure of myself, and I've been sore physically. Like I said, I feel like I ran like a 10-mile hike or whatever the heck, because my body feels like I just, typically how you feel right after like a long jog, muscles you haven't used before or something like that. But it's all over pretty much, and that's probably because of the sustained panic. And I actually bit my tongue too during the panic, and that's why if you notice a lisp or anything like that, it's because of that. And so, yeah, man. I mean, I wonder if anybody else has had these experiences. I mean, I noticed that on YouTube, there's not as many people expressing, like with mental disorders, expressing, their difficulties and their struggles. And I want to bring that back, and you know who you are, people that have shared their feelings on YouTube and have stopped recently, for whatever reason. It helps to get it out, and that's something I realized, and that's why, yesterday, after the incident, the day after the incident, basically I went down. I mean, I kept myself busy all day, from dusk till dawn. I was busy. I went to a psychiatrist appointment, down to get some tutoring for my final exam. Yeah, I have a final exam on Saturday, or today actually, for psychology, ironically, Psych 101, and then tomorrow for Math 106, Algebra. My second attempt. My first attempt was 76%, surprisingly, even though I was in like that panic state. And Tuesday I'm leaving on a vacation that I really can't afford. I planned it out for a long time, bought the tickets, through Hotwire, which I can't refund. And basically, I'm going on a wing and a prayer on the 12th to drive out southwest, visit some people in Las Vegas, mostly my old friend Aaron. He's like my only guy friend, only really good friend, other than Tina, that I've had. I'll probably stay there a day and then make it to my mom's place, where I'll stay for a little bit and visit my sister at the monastery. And I planned on it for a long time, and now it's like, okay, I barely have enough money. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm just going to do it because, I need to be around. I need a breaking of the cycle, because since that day of panic and anxiety, everything that I see that I experienced, like the clothes that I wore on that day that I had the panic attacks and the medication interactions and stuff like that, the clothes that I wore, the place where I was sitting, where I was experiencing it, right here, namely, and life in general just feels, I feel anxious every time these circumstances, I see something that reminds me of that dark day, because it was, seriously, I'm not lying when I say that it was probably one of the worst days in about, probably worst day of the year, if not worst day of the decade for me. I mean, it was bad. I mean, anyways, I'm going to try to make this trip, and not now at this point because I want it, but because I need it. I need to be near family and my mother, and see my sister at the monastery, get out there and see some old friends and all this stuff, regardless of the cost. Even though I have hardly any money, like I mentioned in my last video, I'm still going to do it. because I need it. And this is the only time I'm going to be able to do it because I'm enrolled in 2 classes starting August 24th. And I'll be coming back August 23rd. So I just thought I'd get that off my chest. Advice? Have you had similar experiences? Anybody? You know, am I just crazy? You know, I feel like I have a need to like be around people, and being here alone in this place, even though I live with a roommate, you know, that's usually gone, I just feel really insecure, and I'm hoping that that will go away. And I need someone to just tell me that this will pass. It'll get back to the way it was before. I can handle it. I've been trying to tell myself that, but I'm pretty hard-headed. Anyways, thought I'd post on that. Yeah, what an experience.